What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. So today I want to look at some of the new mastery stuff in season 7, but to be honest, a lot of people have actually missed some of these. There are new ones, a lot of people have gone over them, but most just focus on that. Old masteries though are being changed as well. So anyway, let me know what you think of these changes and let's just get started. We're gonna go from left to right, I guess. So Frosty first. Tier 1's the same. Tier 2 though, there is a new mastery called Fresh Blood instead of Double-Edged Sword. The first attack basically deals bonus damage, kind of like a mini Misfortune of Love. Tap on a 6-second cooldown. Now this is only against champions, by the way, and if you took this you would lose the other one, which is probably Feast. It's 20 health and 30-second cooldown. That's most likely what you normally go for. In my opinion, it's actually kind of good though. Definitely better early into the lane, I guess, than later. High range champions like Caitlyn or Jinx would use this the most. A Feast is actually nice and everything, but more of a safety net if you mess up a trade and you need to recover some health and take some damage. This gives you a better auto trade though. So the tier 4 one has been juggled around quite a lot. We have Battle Trance, we have Bounty Hunter, and we now have Double-Edged Sword. So where that was before for the Fresh Blood mastery has kind of been shifted into here, but a bit different. So the Bounty Hunter is one that I think is actually pretty insane. They've changed this now to 1.5% from 1%. So in theory, that's a 7.5% damage increase if you kill every champion. Battle Trance is a 5% damage increase over 5 seconds it's spent in combat with enemy champions. So it's going to be ramping up damage over time, I guess, to a maximum of 5%. The Double-Edged Sword has been changed a little bit as well. It's going to be 5% extra damage, but 2.5% extra damage taken as well. So you'll be dealing more, but you'll be taking more as well. It's actually quite an interesting choice between all of these, but Bounty Hunter is obviously seriously good right now. 7.5% is the most you're going to get out of each of these three. Late game as well, when you're doing more damage and critting for a ton, 7.5% is going to be a really big difference, and 2.5% extra damage on top of the others is also going to make a difference. Battle Trance would have been super sick with the old Fervor. It would have stacked up, all that on hit damage would be increased and just steadily over a long fight, but it's different now, which you'll see in a second. To be honest, it's nice, it's kind of cool. It's a really weird choice between the three, but I think this is how you kind of want to think about it. So Battle Trance is a increased damage over time in combat, right? So it means if you're an auto attack based champion, you need time to kill someone anyway, and the ramping up time doesn't really make too much difference. Double-Edged Sword, because you're taking more damage but you're also doing more damage, is kind of just if you are risky, then you get the payoff way earlier into the game and you don't even have to wait for it to ramp up. On champions who are burst, like Misfortune or Jin for example, then this would actually be really good because the ramping up one doesn't really work as much when you're going to unload your cooldowns at the start of a fight. Bounty Hunter is the late game choice, really. It's the one where you have to actually team fight to, in theory, kill everybody unless you get very lucky, I guess, and that is where the real damage increase is going to show. So this is going to be the big one. The tier 5 in Frosty Fervor is different now. So there are actually kind of a few changes. Firstly, it's 10 stacks now rather than 8. It only lasts 4 seconds instead of 6, and it increases your AD now by 1 to 6 depending on your level for each stack. At most, that's going to be 60 AD. Before, the most you could have was 110 on hit damage. That's quite a bit of a difference. This, in my opinion, actually could be a really big nerf, and I've got 5 different reasons. So first one is more stacks. It takes more time to reach full stacks and get the full benefit. Before you just had to get 8, now you have to get 10. So second thing is this AD now and not on hit damage, especially with it being almost half of what it would have been before. AD is used for abilities though, so that does kind of make a little difference. The third thing is though, because it's not on hit damage anymore, it's not going to be as good with heavy attack speeds now. You can't just really stack attack speed and use the further damage. Number 4, it lasts 4 seconds instead of 6, and a 2-second reduction is actually quite a long time. You lose stacks in a team fight or lane, if you do, it's actually a big damage drop. The fifth thing is Rage Bait as an item is pretty much dead now in my opinion. I don't see why you would buy this over anything else. Fervor was a lot of the reason the double on hit damage actually worked. This is something I think most people miss, but for auto attack based champions, I actually think this is going to be a pretty big nerf moving into next season. So now if we go into Cunning, there are 2 changes. The first one is tier 4. Is Greenfather's Gift is going to be a new mastery. So stepping into a bush means your next attack or spell deals bonus damage. It's actually 3% of their current health and it's on a 9-second cooldown. Now it's actually a good buff to poke champions I think, but it's about what you're going to give up here in my opinion. So you would give up the dangerous game or you would give up the bonus gold from Bandit. That is quite a lot to sacrifice for just dealing a bit more damage in my opinion. You have to also remember that percentage damage is better later into the game, and so early 3% of your current health is not actually going to be an absolute ton dealing bonus extra damage. So yes, it is a little bit more, yes it is more poke, but it's not going to be as good as it would be later. This is probably going to be I will get gold from killing the enemy, I want to do more damage late game rather than gold over time I think. The other change in the Cunning tree is tier 5, so the one below is going to be lethality instead of arm pen, which we should have really expected anyway. And finally, Resolve. So this is the third tree now, and there are going to be 3 major changes. So in tier 2, there's now a new one called Siege Master. You're going to gain 8 armor and magic resist when near an allied tower. It's okay, but to be honest, it's not that great. The thing is, the others on this line are not that great anyway though. 15 move speed or 2 less from basic attacks. I don't think think either of them are that great. It depends what you really want. It sounds kind of weird though to me, because personally I would have thought you'd have this next to an enemy tower, right? Like if you were going aggressive and you wanted to have it maybe for a dive. Anyway, moving on to tier 4, there's another new one which is called Fearless. Now this is 10% plus 2 per level bonus armor and magic resist when damaged by an enemy champion for 2 seconds on a 9-second cooldown. So if you're a 200 armor full tank, for example, that's like an extra 56 armor on top for 2 seconds. Basically it just means that they will be stronger as they dive in to engage, I think. It does say that it has a 9-second cooldown. Now if the fight is a long one, then that actually proccing over and over might seriously screw with damage outputs. There is an element of like kind of RNG, I think, here a little bit. Like you wouldn't necessarily plan for it, but what if this activates like halfway through a fight again for the second time and suddenly the damage that was going to kill them doesn't anymore? I know that's not like a major deal, it won't happen all the time, but that could be seriously frustrating. I'm not sure if I agree entirely with it. But also on this line is like health regen and summon a spell cooldown. Those things aren't really that good for tanks anyway. This is way better, and I think it's a good buff in my opinion. It might turn out to be a little bit weird and a little bit RNG based, but it is a good buff for tanks. Now we're getting to the real buff for tanks though. Courage of the Colossus is a new keystone replacing Strength of the Ages. You're going to gain a shield for 10 plus 10 per level plus 7% of your max health for each nearby enemy champion for 4 seconds after hitting them with hard crowd control on a 30-second cooldown. That was a bit of a mouthful. Basically this is going to be insane in team fights. It means when you dive in you gain a shield which is based on how many people are around you, enemy champions are around you. Just as an example, if you are level 18, that's 190 of a flat shield plus 7% of your maximum health on top. Let's just say you have like 4,000 health if you stacked it, which is what I think more people are going to do now just because of this mastery, this keystone. That's going to be 280. Put them together, that's 470 per champion that you're going to be getting in a shield. So if it's a full 5-on-5 team fight engage, that's 2,350 health shield for 4 seconds. I think you can kind of understand now why I think this might be just a tad a little bit broken, honestly. Like one thing though, you have to bear in mind, this only procs when you hit hard crowd control on the enemy. So an immune ult, for example, would get this shield for 4 seconds afterwards, but the immune ult itself lasts for 2 seconds. Sure, a lot of late game are going to have like QSS and stuff so they can cleanse it, but still, if they don't, then half of the shield duration is where they can't even attack you because they're stunned. I'm not sure about you guys, but I just think tanks got a really good buff in the resolve tree for next season with these. Like you have Fearless, you now have Courage of the Colossus. Put them together, that's actually a lot stronger than they were going to be last season. And auto attack ADs as well seem to got kind of screwed by the fervor changes. It seems really weird to buff tanks and nerf AD carries a little bit, but I guess like we'll have to see what the other items bring to the table. Let me know what you think about these though, because obviously it's not going to plan out exactly how I probably want it to. Thank you guys for watching until the end though, and for now let's go to the robots.